Hello, my name is Pew Pew Choo Choo, and today we will be taking a look at infantry combat inside the Arma 3 showcase scenario. So, inside this scenario, we will be inserted into the ravine here with Alpha Squad, and we will be sent forward to reinforce Charlie Squad inside their assault of the village presented on this map. I know it's a little hard to see, so we're actually just gonna move into the gameplay right now.
Movement here. Looks like they're outflanking Bravo. Over.
Copy that, Private. Sit tight. We're almost there. Out. Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Be advised, contact spotted near the village. Do we engage? Over.
Solid copy, Alpha Lead. Clear to engage. Papa Bear out.
Okay, let's go.
Alright, I think that's the main portion of the dialogue here. One of the big things that they've done
Move up.
coming from Arma 2 into Arma 3 is that they really tried to make the infantry combat, which is a big focus of the Arma games, I should add, a lot more fluid. And what they've done here is that they've refined the cover taking system, they've refined the weapons handling, and they've refined the movement inside the game. So first and foremost, let's take a look at the ballistics.
Soldier, 100 meters west.
One of the things that you'll notice immediately here is that guns with sounds and movement and all the bells and whistles are made to sound a lot more meaty. They are made to be a lot more deadly, is the word that I would use. Inside Arma 2, the guns didn't necessarily feel all that strong. I mean, I remember very strongly that the AK was, it sounded and felt like it was more or less of a BB gun. One of the big things that they did with Arma 3 is that they made the weapons a lot more distinctive, weapons pack a lot more punch, and they feel a lot more immersive. In addition, as I'm pretty sure a lot of the audience has seen before, we can actually customize the weapons now. So for example, I usually don't like iron sights on, or rather complex scopes on my guns, so I will be taking off that ACOG scope and using a regular iron sight mode. Another thing that they did is they refined, or rather tried to make the movement system a lot more fluid. Right now, what I can do to change from sprinting to actually walking and aiming down, such as this, is just simply press a button, whereas inside Arma 2 I would actually have to hold down shift and do all of this stuff. They tried to make it so that you kind of switch between going from combat mode and movement mode would be a very smooth transition here. I no longer have to do complex, relatively complex 3-button combinations to kind of do what I want to do in a short amount of time. Another thing that they did nicely was that they implemented a very smooth compromise between very heavily level design based scripted games such as Rainbow Six Vegas and free range open shooters such as the Arma series. Now, here, as you can see here, there's quite a lot of targets on top of this ridge, but there's also quite a lot of targets below us inside the ravine. And now, to present this scenario to the players, the developers can kind of do two things. They can kind of say, okay, we're gonna have this level designer paint out this scenario and put a certain type of layer on top of all of these objects that the player can take cover behind and really just go from there. But what Arma 3 here does is that it gives us a variable cover system where say there were quite a lot of enemies still on top of this ridge, but I don't necessarily want to deal with the enemies below the ravine, right? So what I can do is that I can actually just hold down the control key and I can shift my cover progressively. You know, I can move slightly up, exposing my body but giving me a better field of view, or shifting my body down and kind of positioning myself inside this awkward sideways stance, which offers us more cover.
Fire at that soldier. Copy, I'm on him. Target eliminated.
So here I kind of want some more movement, so I have just
Man,
press C,
100
switch to
meters
movement
west.
stance, and then move to
Rifle,
the
100
combat
meters
stance
west.
as soon as we
I've got
enter an
Move
area
up.
that's presumably filled with enemies.
Machine gun 100 meters west.
Cover me! Reloading!
You know, I think this is kind of a nice setup simply because it removes a lot of the odd button combinations inside Arma 2, where right in Arma 2, sprint was double tapping the VAST keys and walking was the shift key. Well, now inside Arma 3, both the sprint and the walking have been kind of replaced by this variable stance system where I can kind of switch between walking, pursuing enemies, and actively looking and eliminating them inside the combat stance, and kind of moving around simply with the click of a button, right? So it definitely helps a lot on that. Now I can simply just use the shift button for another purpose, which is to activate the turbo run button. Another big thing that they're aiming for is the smoothening
Changing marks!
of the animations here.
Gotta reload!
Casualties, but the village is ours. Please advise. Over.
Cover me! Reloading!
Alpha, Bravo, entrench your
Gotta
positions
reload!
and await further orders.
Clear.
Charlie's now en route with support for your wounded. Out.
They've done quite a great job in making the weapon animations feel a lot more authentic. They try to make
100 meters
the
west.
hand gestures a lot more immersive, in the sense that inside Arma 2, weapon reloads were typically done off screen. The weapon
Man,
just simply
75 meters
disappeared off the edge of the screen, which was definitely not very
Carry. Fire at that soldier.
definitely didn't feel very well. Is he dead yet?
Danger. Move right.
Got incoming
Oh.
fire.
That's not very good.
Spotters must be nearby.
And you can
Someone's
kind of
gotta
see
find
there
them and
that
take them out.
the vaulting has also been redone. A lot more
Corporal
smoother
Garrett, you've just been
when
volunteered.
compared to
Got it,
the
sir.
Arma 2 one.
This is Charlie. We'll assist with locating the spotters.
You know, the word I'd use to describe it is that it kind of has this jiggly effect for the movements. You'll see that it's very smooth. It's very nicely done. Okay, so moving on to the second portion of this mission. Arma 2 presented a big focus in having replayability through randomization
Charlie in
of
position.
position
Cannon hills to the
through
north.
the randomization of enemy patrols and stuff and such like that. Inside this particular scenario, we have to locate the spotters for this section of the level. They could either be somewhere around here, or they could actually be somewhere around here. So it kind of adds a little more to each and every scenario. Obviously, I've already played this particular showcase before I've decided to demonstrate it, and right now, I know that there might be one spotter location there, and there might be one over there. So we're just gonna slowly walk over there. You also have the in-body view of the walking animations, of course. It's all nicely done. And usually I just let the Charlie team people find the enemies for us.
Spotters located.
Oh,
Patch it in the
there we
high
go. Now
speed.
they found it. For here, we can actually take a look at some of the enemy weapons, right? So I'm gonna take this gun off this guy, grab some of his gear, and I'm just gonna rearm off the ground, pick up some of this ammunition, reload his gun. Where is this guy? Let's see, it's ammunition. Need to take his ammunition. Do some of these rounds inside here, and oh. Too bad. It looks like this particular guy didn't have any ammunition of his own, so it looks like we're actually going to have to forgo that move and move forward with our gun. But for the sake of demonstrating things, let's re-equip that ACOG scope, or whatever scope this is. I think it's like, what is it? The ACO scope. go here. You know, I try to avoid going on full auto simply because the guns have so much recoil inside this. Neutralize this guy, take his gun, and you'll notice that the weapons each have a unique type of field to them.
Immediately! Heavy artillery inbound! Get out of there! Fall back to the forest! Papa Bear out!
Papa Bear out. A big focus, I think, inside Arma 3 is the ability to just kind of mix and match weapons on the go. You aren't necessarily limited in your weapon selection in the sense that you can simply put a scope on your gun rather than switching it out for something else. Now, what that allows the player to do is, first and foremost, it gives them a greater selection of weapons to choose from, each with a distinctive feel. So our last gun, the gun that we had started with, had quite a lot of recoil for each and every individual shot. Although for this one, I feel like that the recoil has been reduced by somewhat. Inside Arma 2, one of the problems I kind of had was that sometimes I'd have an ACOG scope on my gun, and well, weapons should be customizable in the sense that you should be able to rip the scope off your weapon in pretty much all situations. A pretty good example of it would be Red Orchestra 2, where you could actually use the regular iron sights on a sniper rifle if you so choose, right? So it kind of placed you in some situations where the only possible way you were going to use your weapon is inside this type of mode right here. What I think the developers, the people at Buy Studio that work very hard have done inside Arma 3 is that they've they kind of switched players from this kind of gaming perspective of being able to just kind of pew 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 to actually giving the players the ability to actually change the scopes, which is very nice. Another cool thing is that they kind of refined the destruction of villages a little bit, in which over time, over successive shelling, the villages will actually break away. The buildings will be turned to ruin. The base game Arma 2, what happened with a lot of the buildings was that they would simply they were pretty much billboards. They were either there or they were gone, excluding large factories and warehouses. That was pretty much it for buildings, right? They were either destroyed or present. So inside this video we've covered infantry combat. Next time we'll take a look at the naval, or perhaps the vehicular play. I will see you guys later. Be sure to like and subscribe for more.